Alright, so I wanted to make this video because I wanted to kind of go through my own transition story. Everyone has their own story on what happened when they got out. And people have this misconception that just because, and I had it too, if you're in for like a 2-year contract or 3 or 4-year contract, they're really short contracts, even a 5-year contract. You think that you may not feel the full effect of going out into the civilian world and being completely okay. Like, as if, I'll only be like in my earlier mid-20s and everything's going to feel normal. Everything's going to feel fine. I wouldn't have missed out much on life. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. And I am an example of that. And I kind of want to give my story on what happened. And I really would hope that some of you that are listening can hear what I'm saying and take what I'm saying as advice and just learning from the mistakes that I made. And the mistake that I made was not prepping. I didn't prepare. When I got in, I was 18 years old. I just did high school. I was thinking about college, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I just signed up for the Navy because I like the water. I like swimming. And I realized very soon into it that I hated it. I wanted nothing to do with it. It was absolutely terrible. Some of the worst times of my life. Some of the best times, but some of the worst times of my life. And I wanted to get out. And so I told myself my first year in, I want to be a real estate agent. Right? I picked something that was like very business oriented and my own boss type stuff. And that's what I wrote on. And 3 years later, I got out, and my situation had changed. I wasn't a single bachelor anymore that was going to go back to California with tens of thousands of dollars saved up and with a plan in the back of my mind. I had a family. I had a son. And priorities shifted. And when I got out, I was still in Virginia, so I wasn't even in California, and I didn't do anything. I was a stay-at-home dad. And that's not knocking on the work of being a stay-at-home dad, because that's tough. Being a stay-at-home dad is tough. Doing nothing, however, just being a stay-at-home dad, I think I know I could have done more. And whether it was a side job or especially, I'll bring this up later, the biggest mistake aside from not prepping myself to get out, and when I say prep myself, I mean having a job lined up, college lined up, something to go from working at a very stable and secure job to something. I didn't do that. And I just, I kind of fucked around. I kept telling myself, I have like a year, or however long my wife is stationed here for until we PCS. So I'm going to just write it out and be a stay-at-home dad and just play fucking video games and fuck off. And that's what I did. And it was so far one of the biggest mistakes of my life. Not the biggest mistake of my life, because it set the tone for the next 4 years of my life. But the second biggest mistake, aside from not prepping, was not going to college. I understand college isn't for everybody. Some people they don't like it. But the difference is between getting out of the military and going to college and going into college as a civilian is it's a job. When you get out of the military, you get paid to go to school. However much BAH is for a second class where you live, where you're going to go to school, that's how much you're going to get. All your classes are paid for. I don't even care if you don't like college or you don't see the point in it, you don't see the purpose. If you don't have anything set up, if you don't have a job set up, if there's nothing going for you outside, it's a must. I would even say it's a requirement that you should go to college. Just take 4 bullshit classes just to do the full credit. Whatever you need to get 12 credits, just do it. Even if they're easy A's. You don't have to fuck around and, you don't have to, you don't have to like focus on a major. You don't have to know what you want to do. Just do it. Just go in and just start getting paid. And most importantly, start getting on a structure. That's the biggest thing. You're leaving a very safe and a very structured life. And it doesn't matter if you were in for 2 years or 20 years. You're going to feel it. In some aspect, in some form, you're going to feel it. And I made that big mistake because one thing I didn't think about was that's not going to happen to me. I'm only in 4 years. I'm going to get out when I'm 22. What are you talking about? The difficulties of transition. Like, I'm going to be just fine. And I wasn't. I wasn't fine. I made that illusion for myself. And I should have prepped myself. There should have been something waiting for me when I got out. And there wasn't. So fast forward 3 years. Well, I got out in 21. It's 2025 now. And I finally started. Something finally clicked, right? I tried real estate. And that's another thing. I tried the one thing I was prepping for. I thought I wanted to be a realtor. I wanted to be the best real estate agent. Come to find out, I don't like it all that much. It's a hard gig. And especially, it must have been great back in 2020. But now it's a lot tougher to break into the market. Even, and then I had that whole life thing happen, and, that was a bunch of bullshit. And I kind of feel like I got knocked out and I woke up in the middle of a forest and I had no idea where the fuck I was. And I'm now finally just starting to kind of make sense of where I am in life. One thing that really kind of kickstarted that was, it happened late last year. I think it was like November of 2024. I thought to myself, what if I went back in the Navy as a pilot, as an officer? I knew officers had better quality of life, and a pilot for sure would be an awesome skill to transition out of. And just, it'd be cool being a fucking pilot, in the Navy. And I called the recruiter officer, and he told me something that kind of sent chills down my spine. You could probably guess what it was. He asked me, do you have any college done? I said, no. He said, how old are you? And I said, I'm 24. And he's like, yeah, you're going to be too old. I was like, what do you mean too old? I'm 24. He's like, well, you need to have your bachelor's, which you're starting from scratch. So it's going to take you a while to get your bachelor's. And then it takes like a year or a process to get selected for an officer. And basically by then, it was going to be too late. Or I think I was already 25, actually. Yeah, actually I was already 25. Yeah, I was already 25. So, and then the cutoff was 27. So in 2 years, I would have had to have gotten my bachelor's degree and wait to be selected, or the interview, however that, paperwork takes. I would have had to wait for that. I couldn't do it anymore. And for the first time in my life, I finally had a door shut in my face because of my inability to act. If I just went to college and I really just kind of fucked around and I just got my easy A's, I picked a fucking whatever bachelor, right? I could have done it. Because I would have graduated probably in 2024. And I wouldn't have had to have worried about that. But I didn't, because I thought that going back to school, and I thought about it, of course. I went and I toured UCSD, right? It was such a beautiful campus, but it felt weird. All those kind of kids walking around. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be a part of that. Like, it didn't feel like it was me. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, yeah, it may seem a little weird. You know, one of my classes has 10 veterans. 10 fucking veterans out of like 35 students. 1/3 of the class is practically fucking veterans. There's so many of us in college. There really is. Like, you're not alone. There's a lot of people getting out of the military and figuring out, you know, what's going on in their life. And I try to tell myself not to be too hard too hard on myself, because I'm still in my 20s. I'm in my mid 20s, and this is what your 20s are supposed to be, right? That's what everyone tells me. Your 20s are supposed to be the time in your life where you're figuring shit out, and you're just seeing what sticks. Well, I'm kind of over here having a midlife or quarter life crisis, because yeah, even though I sort of agree with that, I mean, it still sucks knowing that there was something I could have done. You know, not that I thought college was below me, but I thought I was destined for something so much greater, right? The prophecy, Fabian arrives in San Diego, is gonna be this amazing realtor and just mop the fucking floor. Like, no, that, you know, you gotta, it's good to be hopeful, but you need to be realistic at the same time. So at least take that advice. If you don't have a plan, you don't know what the fuck to do when you get out, just go to school. Just go to school. You can't miss. You can't fucking miss. Like in the military. You join the military, you're gonna get paid. You're gonna get fed. You're gonna be fine. You can't fucking miss. So when you get out, do the same thing for yourself. Have that structure, because school will give you that structure. You're gonna have to wake up at a certain time. Yeah, there's more freedom, sure, but you're gonna have to wake up at a certain time. You have to go to class here. It may suck, right? Like waking up early to go to school. I love that, honestly, and it kind of makes me reminisce on my old time in the military. And now look at me, 5 years later, just about 4 years, coming up on 5 soon. Jesus Christ, and I'm planning on going back in. My wife leaves for deployment. Oh, yeah, and then there's the struggles of being a stay-at-home dad for 6 months all by myself. And that's not going to be fun. And then after that, you know, I'm gone. Like, I've made the decision that I'm going to re-enlist, and that could be a whole separate video and explain how this correlates to why I'm re-enlisting. But I mean, the main reason why I'm re-enlisting is not so much because I miss the bullshit. Like, I don't miss the bullshit, all right? And I'm a lot smarter going back in now. Like, I know I'm not going in with no fucking job, right? No APAC, no undesignated, none of that shit. Not again. You can't get me again. Fool me once, you can't get fooled again. However, fool me once, you can't get fooled again. I don't know, whatever George Bush said, but that was some fuck shit too. There's another story I have about that, about my detailers screwing me over when I was in MEPS. That'll be a story for you. But yeah, you know, I'm over here thinking about joining air crew, going back in, because I know what that job is like, and it's so ironic. You know, I spent all this time in the military hating it and hating on it, and I was like, this fucking sucks, and it does. If you get dealt shitty cards, it does fucking suck. It really does. But there's people like my wife that, man, she's had it really nice. She was dealt with a lot of the right cards. And you can really see how awesome the Navy can be when things work in your favor versus against you. Literally, polar opposite careers. The experience that I had, vastly different from what she had. There's things you can do to tip the scales on what you want, but ultimately it's really a luck of the draw. But one thing I'm doing to kind of tip the scales in my favor is doing aircrew, because the quality of life is better than a maintainer. And even then, you know, there's still that worry about, like, okay, well, after I'm done here, like, what am I going to do when I get out? If I only decide to do one contract, I'm going to be like 31 years old. Go back to school, I guess. I'm doing 1 year right now and just finish off the other 3 years when I get out, or when I'm in. Would be better if I do it when I'm in. Point of this video, guys, is you need a plan. And it was a little life update too at the same time. This video is kind of dragging on a little bit. I just wanted to make this video quick and just tell you guys, if you're thinking or you're confused, you're not sure where to go, you feel stuck, just know that you're not alone. This is a very normal thing to feel. And yeah, you don't need to have life figured out. You don't. But you should have a plan. You should be doing so. Even if that plan, you don't know where the fuck it's going to lead you, just follow something. And make sure it's semi-realistic or semi-stable. Or if you want to chase your dreams, at least have a side gig, right? Something giving you income. Like, you'll have plenty of time to go to school and pursue entrepreneurship if that's something for you, or an apprenticeship. So you could fit school in there. There's online classes. If you do a community college, like, there's probably other campuses that'll be available to you in the same school district. There's paths, there's options, and just please take them. And please just go to school. If all else fails, go to school. Just that one piece of advice will save you so much headache. I'm just here, and man, I really love space, and you can kind of see the view of the water. The city's over there. It's a gorgeous city. I love it here. And I would get high chances of getting stationed. Alright, this video is getting really fucking long. Alright, guys. That's it. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for staying this long and listening. Bye.